Hey guys, today I'm going to take you through a process of converting this airsoft electric gun into a Daytona gun. A Daytona gun, if you're not aware of what it is, also known as a TNK gun, it's basically a high pressure air powered system. You could say somewhat like a Polar Star, but it functions more like a real gun with a working bolt, a recoil. It's a lot more realistic, but it is also very efficient and supposedly very fun. I've never had one, I've never built one, I've never shot one. I've tried to get the tip in to try to come to something close to that, but I don't think it's anywhere near it. Anyway, the reason I'm making this video is not because I'm some sort of airsoft tech expert, but when I was looking for reference videos to do this, I found almost nothing on the actual building process. There's a couple videos, people disassembling a finished gun and then putting it together, cleaning, maintenance, stuff like that, but I couldn't find a single video where they went from this is an electric gun to here's how you get it to a Daytona finished build. I think most of the people get it done, and a lot of the other guns are more complex, but with the FIL here that I have, SA58, it seems to be pretty straightforward, so I think I'll be able to do it. I don't know, this could be a huge fail. Before I start, I looked at every YouTube video I could find. I looked at some websites. There's not much on it. There's some pictures of this gun broken down kind of when it's finished. Some photography, I think, from the manufacturer. So I'll link to all that stuff in the description, but there's really nothing specific on how to take this gun apart and how to make it a Daytona gun. So based on what I think I'll be expecting, I have laid out the parts I need and the tools I'll need. So of course I'll need my base gun here, the donor gun. This is an Echo 1 SA58. Then I got some tools like types of screwdrivers, scissors, they were just around, pliers, Allen screws, I think there's plenty of those needed. And I'm using the tape as a place to hold all my screws so I don't get it mixed up with my Allen tray here. And I have an iPad here, yes, in pink, so I could look up videos or pictures as I go because I know I'm going to need it. And here I have the kit, and the kit comes just as is. Basically all I've taken away some of the packaging and the box it came in, but this is what you get. There's absolutely no instructions, so you kind of have to figure it out on your own. So you have your best I can gather, all the main parts are, you get the trigger group here, the bolt, this goes into the trigger and the line hooks up to it. You got a bolt that holds this grip on once you take out the gearbox, and then this bolt connects the trigger group to the body to this handle grip. The handle snaps on here, you got your guide rod here and hop up, and you have a patch. So it seems pretty straightforward, and of course your line here. But you know, sometimes stuff looks easier than it is. I know I'm going to have to modify a couple things on this gun right off the bat. I'm going to have to drill a hole somewhere around here for the hop-up, because this does not use the same hop-up as an AEG, it's a proprietary hop-up. The barrel will go in here, and then there's an Allen screw here that you turn through the top that adds more or less hop. And we'll get to that once I take that apart. The other thing is you have to drill one or two holes down here to secure the grip, and then one to run the line through it. I think you probably use this existing hole to secure the grip, and then you'll need an opening to run the line out. And then the other thing I know for sure needs to be modded is on the Fire Selector switch. I think this knob needs to be shaved because it prevents it from turning anywhere past this A. On the electric gun it goes safe, semi-auto, all on this side, but on the Daytona gun it goes safe, then semi is where A is, and then auto's all the way out to here. There's a little notch for it here actually, I think, so that's probably where you drill it. And that's actually like the real steel gun. So you'll have to shave this little knob off, or the Fire Selector, and then put a little notch here for it to lock into. So those are the mods I know I have to make right off the bat. But everything else, we'll see how it happens. It's supposed to be a drop-in kit. How drop-in it is, we'll find out. Hopefully it is a drop-in, and I'll have this thing assembled in a couple hours. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is strip this gun out, take off all the accessories, take out the gearbox, pretty much anything that's used to power it in the day. Take it out, get the barrel out, and then start putting it back together. So let's get disassembling with this thing. Okay, so the first order of business is to take everything out of the electric gun that we don't need. So of course take off all the accessories first of all. Mid-cap mag. Take off my custom battery compartment here, which I'll no longer be needing since we're not going to be using a battery. Then I'm going to take this optic off as well. Alright, so next I'm going to take the motor screw out. And I'd recommend the video by Brian at Echo 1, I think. The manufacturer of this gun. There's a good disassembly video for taking this gun apart. Putting that in there. Grip is off. We'll need that later. As well as a trigger guard. Then I think we take these two screws out. Alright, my gearbox, I think it's supposed to just slide out. Seems like the wires are kinky. I know I'm going to have to take this top cover off, so I'm just going to do it now. Hopefully it'll let me get the gearbox out easier. Alright, so I'm having a hard time getting the wires to push through here. I think it's a tight space, so I'm going to take the handguard off and see if that helps. So that should work. Alright, so looks like most of the stuff's out of here that was electric based. So we just have a shell, charging handle here. And then we have our lower. I think I have to take this fire selector off. Anyway, this goes in like this, so I think I need to punch this out if I can, and then take off the fire selector. Alright, so I punched this pin out. Instantly lost it, of course. But now I can unscrew this. And take the fire selector off. Alright, so I think we could start somewhat of an assembly. Now, this trigger looks like the trickiest piece because as it stands now, these parts need to come out. And then this needs to drop in and get secured back up. So I think I'm going to undo this little Allen screw here. Alright, so there's one specific spot where it turns and pulls out. So now it's coming out. Alright, so not exactly a drop in. So that's out. Now I think we could actually put it in. Let's get the trigger in because this is the time for that. Alright, let's see if I could put this in now. Use a clamp to get it in there. Alright, let's try the big clamp. Alright, looks like it's in. Now let's see if we can replace this successfully. Alright, okay, you can drop it in through the top. Thank God. Thought I was going to have to take the whole thing out again. That would not be fun. Alright, let's fish this back in. Alright you guys, so it looks like I finally got the lower in, and it was a huge pain in the butt. I'm not gonna act like it was easy. It's super tight, there's no room for error really, and you can't just drop it in. I had to push this thing in with a lot of force. I used the pipe clamp and I finally got it in there. Then the fire selector pin here that goes through the whole thing, that connects it to the body. I had some trouble with that as well. It's not very smooth going in. And then when you get to this part here, there's an opening here and it has two set screws in it. One locks the pin from back in, back out, and then the second screw locks that first screw from unscrewing as well. But this way you could lock it in there so the fire selector, this pin can still spin and not have too much pressure from the set screw, and then the second set screw keeps the first one from backing out. So when you undo this, you'll be unscrewing a screw and nothing's going to happen. It's still going to stick out through here, so you have to unscrew it all the way out and then back the other one up a little bit so you have room to move. Also, I had to Dremel this out a little bit, this opening on the side of the gun. In the first place, you have to punch out one of these in there, and it just comes right out nice and easy, which is good. But then it was a little too tight for this pin to fit all the way through, so I Dremeled it just a bit, and the pin is in there really well, really tight. So what happens is, here's the fire selector that goes on it. So that fits on it like that, and as you can see, it works. They're safe, and when you put on safe, you spin this piece in here that blocks the trigger from going all the way back, and then here I have it on semi, and then the trigger moves freely. Now I'm gonna have to shave this part off here, this little notch that hits the block, so then I can spin it all the way to the other end and get to full auto mode. Also, I'm gonna have to drill through this thing where it used to thread in from the inside. It needs to be a hole that you could put this little screw through into here, and that will secure the fire selector to this pin, which is now secured to the gun and to the body. I'm leaving that off for now until I get this thing working, and then I'll start dremeling and drilling further. But it's in there now, it's nice and solid, so I can finally continue with the build. So I think the next step is to drop this, and luckily this is much easier. Hooks on there, and then you drop in the screw through here and tighten it down. Huge change in difficulty from the previous step. Let's see if I can do this while on camera. And this is the little knob that will allow the hand grip to hook onto it. So, and it also secures the trigger to the body. Just make it nice and tight. So you can see this fits on here. And then this screw will screw into that block I just added, and that will keep the handguard in place. But I'm keeping this off as well for now because it's not essential to the operation. So we got that in. Next I hooked these two pieces up. They came separately. You have your sort of control block that I think releases the pressure to the rest of the gun. And this is the line that goes to it. Again, I'm doing like a quick, easy, simple, rapid fit here just for test purposes. I'll probably put some Teflon tape on there or some grease or something if it's leaky. So that goes on, then you feed it through here. Make sure you push this notch back, so now it's pushing forward on this little piece. So basically now you have your line going out, this will come out of the grip, and it's coming in here, and there's the trigger to control it, and then you have your fire selector to switch modes. So I think temporarily we could call the lower sort of finished. So I'm going to put that aside and move on to the hop up. Alright, let's see how this goes. So I need to take this barrel out of this AEG hop up. So let's take it apart then. Alright, this looks like it's coming off pretty easy. So one piece, snap this off. Basically just need the barrel. I don't know if I might need the spring later. Take off the hop up wheel. Probably a good time to clean this as well. Alright, so here I have my barrel. I'll be reusing this for now. And this is the hop-up unit that comes with the gun that we need to put it into. So, as I understand it, we need to undo this Allen screw. So I backed up this hop-up knob, and I'm going to undo these side things. These side screws that I think hold the inner part in. Maybe I could feed the, well yeah, I could just put the barrel right in without taking everything apart. Let's see, about that much. Oh, there it goes. That's how you could take it out. Alright, that makes sense. Alright, so slide this on, line up the little groove on the hop up with the groove on the barrel. And I'm going to put the whole thing back in. Alright, now we could probably lock it down in there. Don't need to back these all the way down. It'd be much easier to put them back in if I hadn't backed them all the way out. But I wasn't sure what was holding it in place. So let's get that in. Keeping that notch lined up the whole time. Alright, so now this barrel's pinched in there good. It's got no side to side movement. Now we can put this screw back in, that will adjust the hop up. I'm just going to put it in temporary and see if I can get hop as I'm turning it down. You should see like every AEG hop up, if you're getting that little protrusion from the top, that means hop up's being applied. It should come directly from the top center. Let's see. Looks good. Yep. Yep. You probably have to be careful you don't overturn it, because you could probably just bust right through the hop up. So I'm gonna back it off until I have no hop at all, at least for the testing. Alright, so that's the barrel. Now let's see how it drops in here. Probably gonna have to take these screws out here through the bottom. Start blocking the Allen screws. This little piece here. Oh, I see this part falls out. Maybe I need it out altogether. Probably what you have to do is take this out. Alright, so now this slides on. I'm not sure how tight it has to go on there. Alright, so here's what happened. I had my flash hider on here, and I guess it had a little lip here that was blocking the inner barrel from coming out. So I sanded it down here pretty good, which I guess is not going to hurt anyway. But now it goes on real smooth, perfect fit. I could get the feed ramp nice in the line. Let me get a mag in there to use as a guide. Alright, this will make sure I screw it down nice and centered. Alright, so now I can put these Allen screws back in. Take the mag out, and then do the bottom one. Now I'm going to see if I could put this piece back in. Doesn't really want to go in just right. Hop up's done, it's in the gun, and the lower is done. So all that's left is the guide rod here and the bolt. Alright, so I think the bolt goes in next. And I notice you have to push down on the bolt release when you push the bolt forward so you could get over that hump. So that's good. Alright, so let's see if we could put the rod in here. Alright. You can see the bolt lock works. Ugh, bolt release is not easy on this guy. Whoo! Alright. I think we might be getting close to done here. Let's try putting the two halves together. Then we screw these back in. Yay! Daytona gun. Well, looks like I used all the parts, which is a good sign, and the bolt seems to work pretty well. Now if we could get power to this and test it, I think we're in business. Then it's just all the little cleanup stuff, but... Alright you guys, so I got a line hooked up to this. I've tested it. It looks like it's shooting. It's in its bare bones state right now. I just put the rail back on, but it still needs some final touches before it could be used on the field. But as you can see, it shoots and it kicks and it's awesome. And it's got a good sound. Let's try full auto. I put a mag in here just to see if it shoots, and pretty much everybody's mentioned that it takes about 2 to 5,000 BBs to get it running. So I figured, how bad is it right now? So let's shoot it. Seems to be doing alright. Hitting a target about 30 feet away. I have no hop on right now, so maybe that's the reason, but I'll start dialing it in a little bit and we'll see how it goes. But it looks like it shoots. So far it's doing two important things. It's cycling and shooting, so it's a good start. Okay guys, so I got this thing assembled. I got it shooting. I'm just running a temporary line out here off the compressor. At 120 PSI, it's doing about 400 feet per second. Really good rate of fire. The kick is really nice. It's fun to shoot, so I'm really looking forward to now scrimmaging this thing. Alright, I think last I left, and sorry for all the bad camera angles, this thing, it's a lot of hands-on work, so I'm probably out of shot a lot, but you kind of get the general idea. So since the last bit here, what I've done is I put the rail back on just to give it a little more of a sturdy feel. The Fire Selector had to be modified, like I mentioned. I shaved this part off, that little notch that keeps it from going anywhere past this A, so now it could go all the way around. It's really tight on there. Also, you have to drill through it and then lock it down with the screw that comes with the kit, so they become one piece. Now inside there's a little spring tension knob that makes it click into place, which is good, but when you go, it's real tough to go because it's real tight, which I like. I don't mind. Once you get in whatever fire mode, you tend to stay there. The problem is when you go from semi to auto, this thing kind of falls out here and gets a little stuck. It's not a huge thing because you could just push it in and push through and get to full auto. But it's not something you could do one-handed in the middle of a game. You're going to have to take the time and turn it to full auto and make sure you want full auto. Also, at one point I was turning from semi to full, and I had the air connected and it just started shooting somewhere in the middle here without a trigger pull. So be careful switching modes. You might want to unplug the air supply doing that. I'm thinking I'll probably take this little knob out altogether because all it's really doing is snagging on stuff. It is nice to have those positive clicks, but if it requires two hands to go from semi to full auto, it might not be worth it. Also, as you can see here, I had to notch this part a little bit for the very knob to fit in here. But if you take the knob out, you probably don't have to do this part. You do have to shave this off and then also indent here a little bit, so when it hits this little stopper, it's a little more recessed and it could go a little further up in the turn. Otherwise it kind of stops right around here, but if you notch it, you could get about an extra 1/8 of an inch or so of a turn. So that's the way I saw it on the internet picture, so I just followed that because I want it to work properly. But it shoots, it works well. I'm currently adjusting the little piece that goes into the mag well. I took it out when I was putting the hop up in. What I've done is shaved this down just a little bit. You can see there's a little curve. I just took a Dremel tool and flattened it down, and now it drops in there just fine. It's no longer pushing back on the mag. It's easy to put in and take off, so I'm just going to screw that in. So that's done. The fire selector's done. And I've added the grip as well. This hole already exists from the motor screw, so you don't have to drill this hole. This hole I think is a 1/4 inch hole, and I just used the metal drill bit. There's a nice divot on the other side of this that's already pre-indented, so you could use it as a guide to drill. It's real easy to drill through. You pop the hose out, and then you put that long screw that comes with the kit in here to connect everything. And also, don't forget to add the trigger guard back on. So at this point, the gun is fully functional. Everything works, everything shoots, it feeds. The hop-up's working. I'm not sure how good it's working because I've only shot at about 30 feet, but I could see BB start curving even at that distance. So it's going to take a little time to break it in. Supposedly 2,000 to 5,000 rounds, so I'm not expecting it perfect right off the bat. What I have left is the opening here on the top for the hop-up. Nice thing about this is the bolt lock still works. Put the bolt all the way back. You have your screw here. So you just gotta drill that hole. It's probably better to drill from the inside to the outside because I think it's gonna fall somewhere between a recessed and a raised rail. So that'll be real tough to drill through that, but coming out should be much easier. Also give you a nice clean smooth surface here. You won't have any weird burrs from the drill bit entering in this way. So that's all that's left. I'm considering this kit done. I'm gonna drill the hole. And then it's off to take it to a game. I still need to get a rig, and I have a Palmer's regulator that should work, but it's together. That's kind of the process. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's not extremely difficult either. You really need some tools. I think the one tool I couldn't do this without was the pipe. What do you call them? Is the pipe clamp, because you need a lot of tension. With a hand clamp you just can't do it. Maybe with that little C clamp, turn clamp, but you probably end up marring some of the finish. So maybe put some leather or a piece of wood, something in between if you're using the hand clamp. But the pipe clamp worked really well, and that was the toughest part, is getting that lower trigger assembly in here. So if you consider doing this, as far as the FAL goes, here's a little guide. Hopefully it's helpful, and hopefully you're encouraged to possibly try it yourself. I don't know about the other guns. It looks like most of the other guns are much more work intensive. There's a lot more dremeling and drilling. This one is pretty close to a drop-in, a few adjustments to be made, but not overly difficult, and it's kind of fun if you have the time and the tools. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this install. Please subscribe, stay tuned for the gameplay with this gun, and I'll see you on the next one.